wanna cater to my man.
I've never seen somebody recover from it.
Terrence Howard is finally spilling the truth about the night that flipped his whole world upside down, the moment that made him step away from Hollywood's spotlight for good. It all goes back to the 2005 BET Awards, when Beyonce pulled Terrence on stage and gave him a lap dance that had jaws on the floor. What looked like fun and games. Nay. That moment turned into one of the wildest, most talked about stunts in award show history, and it haunted his career.
While or forever?
For good. I mean, everyone keeps trying to tell me don't say it's forever, but I've spent 37 years pretending to be.
Right after that, Terrence's image started to shift. People weren't talking about his acting anymore. They were locked in on his strange interviews, his wild theories. Yeah, the whole Terology thing, and rumors that painted him as one of the most unpredictable guys in the industry.
I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing.
And now, for the first time, he's finally telling it like it really went down. Terrence was born March 11th, 1969 in Chicago, but spent a lot of his childhood in Cleveland, Ohio. His early life was a mix of creativity and chaos. And it shaped the man who would later shake up Hollywood.
Coming out, I remember being compressed, I remember being born, I remember being circumcised, I remember the whole nine and the proof of it.
At just 2 years old, Terrence witnessed something that no kid should ever see. On Christmas Eve, inside a department store, his father stabbed a man during a fight. It later became known as the Santa Line Slam. His dad, Terrence Howard, served a year behind bars. But that wasn't the worst part for little Terrence. He remembered the screams, the fear, the blood. Those images never left his mind. After his parents split, things only got messier. Life at home was unstable. Money problems, tension in the house, and serious health issues weighed heavy on him. Terrence dealt with chronic ear infections that left him unable to hear for a while. Then came Bell's palsy. Half his face froze up. But even back then, he wasn't one to sit back and suffer. He used makeshift electrical treatments on himself to bring movement back to his face. That's the kind of resourcefulness he's been showing his whole life. Eventually, things hit a breaking point with his stepmom. Terrence and his brother bounced. No home, no comfort, nothing.
Now you're gonna play this Marine War hero. I think y'all.
They found an abandoned building and turned it into a shelter using basic carpentry tricks their dad had taught them. That's how they survived. Real grit, real hustle. But it wasn't just survival, there was a spark too. His great-grandmother, Minnie Gentry, was a well-respected stage actress. During summer visits, he watched her perform, and something clicked. He saw another way out, a way forward. He ended up enrolling at Pratt Institute to study chemical engineering. Smart move, right? But acting was always pulling at him. He even padded his acting resume with made-up credits just to get noticed. Dedication or desperation, maybe both. By the time he was in his late teens, he was already a storm of talent, trauma, and ambition.
Chris is so magnificent. He's been the kindest person, and he's really an angel for you guys because he can bring a ton of people here just with his kind words.
That cocktail made him magnetic and dangerous in an industry that didn't know what to do with him.
14, we let go of the little person that kept us.
His start in Hollywood, rough. His first gig on The Cosby Show didn't even make it to air. They cut him out completely. He was so mad, he went straight to Bill Cosby to confront him. That move got people talking. This dude might be trouble. But one thing was clear. Terrence didn't back down from anybody. His big break came in 1992 when he played Jackie Jackson in The Jacksons, An American Dream.
Now you're gonna play this Marine War hero. I think y'all.
That role kicked the door open, but trust, the wild ride was just beginning. That Jackson's role, it didn't just get him noticed, it kicked the door open. After that, Terrence Howard started landing roles that let him show off just how deep he could go. Movies like Dead Presidents and Mr. Holland's Opus weren't blockbusters for him, but they gave him space to stretch his talent. And behind the scenes, Casting directors were starting to whisper about this intense, no-nonsense actor who brought fire to every role. But let's not get it twisted. Hollywood didn't hand him anything easy. His grind was rough. That first shot on The Cosby Show. Cut from the episode. Gone. Just like that. But instead of letting it slide, Terrence tracked down Bill Cosby and called him out. That move right there earned him a rep. Hard to work with? Maybe. But soft? Never.
Iron Man, the whole controversy around Iron Man. I know they paid you a lot in that first Iron Man, and about $6 million, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it was like 4.5.
4.5. And they didn't want to pay you what you wanted the second time around?
No, the second role. What's going on with that?
Yeah.
So that we don't run into conflicts with each other. We should all be on the same page.
That makes sense. Terrence Howard is here, man.
Well said.
Terrence Howard, we got an A-list.
His big breakthrough came in 1992 playing Jackie Jackson in The Jacksons, An American Dream. That wasn't just another gig. It was the moment the industry saw what he was really capable of.
Hard thing, because this entire world is run on that, and that's where the 1 × 1 = 2 came.
Complex characters, emotional depth, he had it all locked in. From there, more doors opened.
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for.
Roles in Dead Presidents and Mr. Holland's Opus started stacking up. But here's where things got real. With every role, especially the deep ones, Terrence had to dig into his own pain. Those childhood scars, the violence, the instability, the survival instinct, they didn't disappear. They fueled his performances, and it showed. Then came Crash. That film didn't just win Best Picture. It showed Terrence could carry weighty, socially charged stories. He brought emotion and edge, and people felt it. But Hustle and Flow?
But this is the first time we saw you talking about you leaving.
That was a different beast. He played DJ, a Memphis pimp with dreams of becoming a rapper. At first, he didn't even want to do it. Thought it was another stereotype waiting to box him in. But then, he dove headfirst into the role, talked to real hustlers, studied the life, lived it, breathed it, and gave one of the rawest, most vulnerable performances of his career. He got an Oscar nomination for Best Actor. That moment proved he wasn't just another name in Hollywood, he was a force. But even with all the praise, Terrence was walking a fine line.
I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the Puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing.
That same fire that made him brilliant, it also made him hard to handle. His ambition, his sharp tongue, his refusal to compromise. Sometimes it moved him forward. Sometimes it slammed doors shut. Crash, Hustle, and Flow, they put him at the top. But the tension behind the scenes was building. You could feel it. The success, the pressure, the whispers in the industry. All of it was leading up to one wild night. And then, 2005, the BET Awards. Destiny's Child was performing Catered to You. Beyonce walks over, grabs Terrence, pulls him on stage, and gives him a full-on lap dance in front of millions. The crowd went crazy. The cameras caught every second of it. And Terrence, man, looked shocked, visibly flustered. You could almost see the circuits frying in real time. The internet exploded. Talk shows ran clips on repeat. Headlines were calling it one of the wildest BET moments ever. And just like that, Terrence Howard became part of pop culture history. Not for a role, but for that lap dance. Years later, he joked about it on Watch What Happens Live. He gave the lap dance a 9 out of 10 and said the chemistry was 100%. But even with the laughs, you could tell. Something shifted that night. But here's the kicker. Terrence later admitted he messed the whole thing up by trying to flirt with Beyonce's friend instead of locking in on Queen Bee herself. What? He fumbled the bag right in front of the whole world. The story might sound funny now, but it peeled back the curtain on a different side of Howard. Awkward, unpredictable, and low-key self-sabotaging.
The fact that it's being shot in Philadelphia, and that's where I live.
What was meant to be a quick, flirty moment, it became a symbol, a glimpse into how the media loves to take one split second and spin it into a full-blown character analysis.
bubbles meet equally and oppositely.
touch it?
Yes, and it's where 12 planes meet. This is an undiscovered geometry that I'm now making known to the world here on this show.
That night didn't just stir headlines. It showed something deeper about Terrence's struggle with fame, relationships, and navigating Hollywood's messy social scene. Take his rumored thing with Nia Long. Nothing ever came of it, just whispers. Meanwhile, actresses like Taraji P. Henson, who worked closely with him, made it clear. On set, boundaries matter. She talked about keeping the space respectful so the chemistry on screen stays real and safe. No games, no drama. So even though that BET moment looked playful, it was also a warning sign, a flashing light. Howard was walking a tightrope between charisma and chaos, and sometimes he didn't even realize it. Because let's be real, Hollywood doesn't forget. They take every misstep, every flirty glance, every awkward moment, and blow it up. For Terrence, those little slip-ups weren't just memes. They became part of his story. And too often, they overshadowed what really mattered, the man's talent. What should have been just another award show moment turned into a piece of his legacy. People weren't just saying, "Did you see the lap dance?" They were saying, "That's Terrence, always doing too much." The media cooked up a whole persona. Charming but wild, brilliant but messy, a walking contradiction. And here's the deeper part. This was just the start. That night kicked off a chain reaction. His charm could get him in the room, but his impulsive moves, they kept shaking up the table. Hollywood started watching him sideways, not because of the acting, he was killing it on screen, but because of how unpredictable he was off it. And when it came to business, things really hit a wall. After Crash and Hustle and Flow, Terrence was on fire. Then 2008 came around. He landed a major bag playing James Rhodey Rhodes in Iron Man. It looked like he was finally stepping into that franchise money, but it all came crashing down fast. By the time Iron Man 2 rolled around, he was out, replaced by Don Cheadle. Why? Money. Terrence said he was promised a certain amount, but when the time came, Marvel cut his salary to boost Robert Downey Jr.'s pay instead. Terrence said, "I brought him in, I helped him get that role, and then they pushed me out." He lost millions, and with that, one of the biggest film franchises ever left him behind. By 2016, Terrence Howard was drowning in financial chaos. Over $600,000 in back taxes, IRS liens, unpaid rent lawsuits. It was a mess. He even sued his old agency, saying they cheated him out of his Empire money. But while folks called him difficult, he said he was just fighting to get what he earned. And then came the Terology. Terrence started telling folks math and science were wrong, saying 1 × 1 = 2 and gravity's electric. People laughed, but he wasn't joking. He wasn't trying to fit in. He was building his own truth, no matter how wild it sounded. In 2025, he turned down playing Marvin Gaye in a biopic, saying he couldn't fake parts of the script. That move blew up headlines and showed again. If it didn't align with his principles, he'd walk away, no matter the money. But while he stood firm on what he believed, his personal life was getting messier. Allegations of domestic violence started stacking. In 2001, he was arrested after allegedly hitting his first wife, Lori McComas. Then, in 2011, his second wife, Michelle Gant, filed for divorce and got a restraining order, accusing him of threats and abuse. And it didn't stop at relationships. Reports of public outbursts, restaurant fights, airplane drama, heated confrontations painted him as someone who could snap at any time. Terrence tried to explain it away, calling most of it misunderstandings, but the headlines kept coming. Then in 2025, he shocked everyone again. He claimed that Sean Diddy Combs made inappropriate moves toward him. Terrence Howard didn't just drop that claim about Diddy for shock, he tied it to a bigger message. He said it was proof of how powerful figures in Hollywood use their status to cross lines, push limits, and blur boundaries. Whether folks believed him or not, it added fuel to the idea that Terrence was stuck in a system where personal space and power plays were always clashing. His past kept creeping into the spotlight too. Growing up in chaos, family fights, trauma, and witnessing violence left marks that didn't fade. That early instability showed up later as mood swings, stubbornness, and moments where genius turned reckless. People close to him described a man who could build brilliance from nothing and destroy it just as fast. Even as he racked up awards and critical praise, Terrence's drama off-screen kept grabbing headlines. Co-stars and fans wrestled with the contradiction. How could someone so gifted be so chaotic? It was like watching a man constantly at war with the world and himself. That war only got louder in the next phase of his life. His personal issues turned into public philosophy. That's when Terology took center stage. He wasn't just saying weird stuff. He was laying out his whole worldview. He said 1 × 1 = 2, claimed gravity was electric, talked about energy, frequencies, even hinted at controlling planetary formation. Most people said he'd lost it, but Terrence saw it as truth. His truth. To him, this wasn't madness, it was freedom. After years of feeling boxed in by Hollywood, pushed aside for speaking up, and punished for not playing by the rules, he walked away. Fully retired. And in doing so, he said he was taking back the power. He believed Hollywood only rewards those who stay quiet and follow orders. And Terrence, he was never built for that. But once again, the media didn't care about the deeper meaning. They focused on the wild theories, the math stuff, the interviews, the internet clips, and his legacy as an actor. Oscar noms, powerful roles, history-making shows got buried under the label of eccentric. For Terrence Howard, Terology wasn't just a theory, it was his rebellion. The same ambition that made him fight Hollywood's rules now had him challenging science, math, and reality itself. Some called him a genius, others called him unhinged, but that's Terrence. He's never fit into a neat little box. His intelligence, pride, and wild creativity always came with unpredictability, conflict, and chaos. Even after retiring, he stayed in the headlines. From that lap dance with Beyonce to his clashes with Marvel and his strange new science, Terrence's story was always bigger than the roles he played. Terology became his final statement. He said no to Hollywood's rules, walked away from acting, and created his own universe. Literally. People laughed at his claims, like 1 × 1 = 2, but to him, it was truth. Through it all, he stayed true to himself. He made bold moves, took big risks, and left behind a legacy filled with talent, tension, and a whole lot of mystery. So what do you think? Is Terrence a visionary, a cautionary tale, or something in between? Drop a comment below and let's get into it. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on your notifications because the next story is about to be just as crazy. See you on the next one.